Hey friends, it's Neil with Tint Masters here at WindowEffects. We're gonna do the whole entire process of doing this super sick Hummer H1. We're gonna do it in 5% Supreme ceramic, whole way around from Johnson window film. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check this whole video out. It's gonna be an awesome transformation. We're gonna do this one the same way. And what I can do too is use a factory edge on this side too. So what I'll do is get a, I'm gonna marker this, but I'm gonna use a straight edge to cut that side. Or we'll see, but this is, all right, we're gonna get the old straight edge, which is not there. It's right here. So we're gonna straight edge this front part right here. I'm actually gonna cut this one bigger so I can see. I'm gonna lay that right on the front edge of that thing. So that's gonna give me a perfect straight edge from the inside. And my video guy has my meta glasses too, so it's gonna be hard for you guys to see in here. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna wait till he gets back and continue this video. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is start with these back windows right here. We can notice up in here, there's nowhere to hide the tint. So we're gonna have to use that glue right there, and then we're gonna glue trick that and make it a perfect cut. So what we wanna do is we're gonna cut it bigger. We're gonna want a glass. It's gonna be a little bit bigger on the inside. So we're gonna put a marker and marker this the whole way around. Excuse the video at the beginning, my camera guy is not gonna be here for another hour and I need to go ahead and get started. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this bigger by like a ½ inch the whole way around. So that way when we put it on the inside, we're gonna hand cut it with the glue. Get that liner started right here with my fingernail. Get that liner pulled off, boom. Even though this one's gonna be tricky in its own right. And that's real good. So what the glue is gonna do is gonna stop it from getting all up in there at the bottom. We are gonna get the paper towels. All right, so what we wanna do is get a paper towel then and get out, especially down at the bottom where it sits down in there. So you're gonna see how dirty that is down there. That's what this glue is gonna do. It stops it from getting all that dirt to come back in there, especially with a 5% tint. All right, so I'm gonna clean that one more time. I just want to lightly mist it. I don't want too much water down in that hole. Again, I'm gonna get that water out of that crevice down in there. Still dirty. We're talking years and years of dirt. All right, clear Elmer's glue. I'm gonna make sure it's the whole way out. I'm just gonna run a bead the whole way around this window. I'm gonna mist the window. I want to put too much. All right, and I'm gonna lay this piece of film up in there. I'm gonna cut all these corners. Probably line up a side edge right there. Drop it back in there so those edges are lined up here and here. All right, so I'm gonna squeegee that side so I can lock this side in first here. All right, so what I'm doing here is squeegeeing this thing out. I don't want to ram it into the edge right there. So glue will kind of hold it from popping back. Now the thing is, I just make sure I got a fresh blade. All right, so I want just a little sliver of a blade out like that so it doesn't cut it short. I want to get that up in to the hole in there. That way I'm gonna push my hand in front of it. That holds that thing from popping out. All right, and I want to start on this side where it's all the way down in there already. It'll give me a smooth edge. When my camera gets high, I'll save the other side. So what we got right there is a perfect cut where there's no light gap. All right, now the thing is, when I clean this window out, I have to wet this really good. Because now every time I touch this on the window, I'm getting glue everywhere. There's glue all over this thing. But if you could get a close eye up in there, you'd be able to see that there's no light gap in there. Okay. Let me show you a close-up of that. So you can see there's no light gap in there. I'm gonna save that window till later when my full camera guy's here. All right, so we're on regular camera now, so I switched off because our film professional just got out of high school, so now the camera won't be bouncing around. So what I'm doing here is we just removed all the old glue on this. AJ's still working on that. So what I need to do is, you can see some of the glue right there. I gotta soak up all this water that lays down in this trough, sitting down there on the bottom. So we're gonna re-clean that off. All right, so we're gonna do what we did on the last one. Pre-cut this window on the outside with a marker. So use the water there to hold that tack down to the window. All right, so wet it. Tack it down to the window. And we're gonna marker the whole window. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna give this a nice, perfect cut, like a sliver right over that marker. So if I do it really close and straight, then I won't have to cut that one side. All right, then on this side, I'm gonna make this bigger. Same thing with the bottom. So that way I'm gonna cut these two sides on there. All right, this is where I'm gonna use that glue, run that edge of glue the whole way around that window. And what that does, I got a wet rag, so it doesn't get anywhere. That stops contamination and that holds the film into that corner. So you can cut it in there without it popping back on you. Push it down in, at least get my one side. So I want it to be bigger everywhere, which is good. So we're just gonna leave it in this side. So that's the only side we're not gonna cut. See how I got it bigger everywhere else? May let me slide it down in behind there. It's actually not let me slide in behind there. So I'm actually not gonna cut that bottom either. I just lift it and slid it back behind there. Probably got this a little too wet. I don't want it to slide around that much. Hold the window to tack it. All right, now the secret to getting this good, I want to get a fresh blade out. I just want to sliver that blade out, as you've seen in some of my videos. I want to get it up at that right angle. So this front finger is really holding that flat. So that I don't cut it short. All right, if I did that correctly, which I did, I'll pull it nice and slow, up and away from the window. Boom. Okay, I'm gonna get that water that's sitting down that bottom so it doesn't cause a finger to pop up down in there. See a couple little marks right in here, so I think that's, yeah, it's just running a little bit of glue that got caught down there, so it's going to be good to run that out with my fingernail. All right, that's good. That one's done. So we got both the back doors done. Now we need to do this one right here. Pull this little piece out right here. Anyway, just jab that in the box to stab it real quick. All right, so we're gonna trace this one out the same way, but I'm gonna do a factory edge on this side here so I don't have to cut that side. So what I'm gonna do here is just make a straight edge on the front of this. I'm not cutting this side. right, now I'm making this bigger. And I'm gonna make this side bigger. I'm gonna make the top bigger. All right, because I'm gonna hand cut the rest of that once we get in here. So I'm gonna have to go with the glasses. All right, so we got the meta glasses on now so you can see. I'm gonna clean the outside so I can see better. So we're gonna get out this little squeegee. So what that is it's just half of this thing that was cut. This little squeegee works really good. See that little bit of contamination right there from getting the old tint off on the side. All right, so we're gonna flush this down really good. All right, and this is where we're gonna use the glue the whole way around this window also. All right, we're gonna run that glue right up that whole top. We'll run it up the side. We'll run it on the bottom. All right, that window's pretty wet, so we don't need to wet this very much. All right, so I'm gonna take this factory edge right here. I can touch that side because I'm cutting that. And I'm gonna line up this perfect right here on the front so I don't have to cut that. So I'm high, I'm big up top, and I'm big down the bottom. And I got my factory edge right there, so I don't have to cut but a couple sides. I got my green towel, because remember, when I hit it with the squeegee, it's gonna have glue on it, especially on the inside. So I'm gonna run that down there. Wipe all that glue off. So this is nice and clean. Okay, I don't want to bump it into the edges. So notice I'm staying away from the edges. I'm not bumping this into the edges. All right, so I'm gonna really get this edge that lay down and stick up in there with the glue. So see how it's sticking in there with the glue. That's what that does. So I'm gonna start just in that corner. I'll start just in that corner right there. I don't want to keep this running because it's not touching right there. So that's where I gotta run my hand in front of there, so it doesn't cut it short. So now, as I did that curve, now that'll stick in there. That's why you want to use the glue too. It'll stick, so you don't have to run that hand down in there. So again, little blade. That glue gets it to stick down in that side. Notice the angle that I got my blade right there. I don't got it straight in like this. I got it angled into that corner back in there because I don't want to see the length of the blade either. I want no light gap. All right, so you know it's a little dark back in here, but I'm trying to pull that piece. Got that, that's a perfect cut. And now I want that little sliver of a blade down that bottom. See how the tint wants to lift up right there? So I want to make sure I'm careful and it's smooth in front of it. So I'm running my other finger right there in front to keep that bottom edge down all the way. Never want to run this without having a hand or a tool out there in front of you. All right, so that's it. That's a perfect cut. Now we just got to get the glue from everywhere. You can see the glue cake up right there. That's the only problem with glue. I know there's people that use tint gel that's out there right now, but unless they're gonna give me a free thing to try, I've tried some gel and it doesn't work as good as the glue does, but the glue is messy. All right, that window came out perfect. All right, we're gonna inspect it out here. Pop back to the camera. All right, that looks great. No light gap, no nothing. All right, let's move over to the front doors. So tacked at the hole. I'm taking this out. I can see where the window goes to. That's why I just stab it and drop it down there. When I cut that, I just catch the film like that. Set down my Johnson window film. I'm gonna pull this up a little closer here. All right, so I don't trust the plotter on these, so if it is even in there, so we're hand cutting these out. All right. Again, with the marker, I'm tracing the bottom. I don't want to jam this in there, so I'm really gentle doing the side. I'm gonna hold my finger right there so I don't cut it short. So that's where that finger goes on the glass. I don't cut that short. It's a little helpful to pull that back and get that wet down there. That's gonna help that top edge thick a little more. Always, every time I do this, I wanna make sure I got a brand new blade. Good Alpha Blade 50 pack right there. You guys can get that at Soak Shield. So we'll show in the logo at this point and message the boys at Soak Shield. You guys can get your tint tools there. All right, so I'm gonna relief cut that corner like that. And pull out this one blade and run that right on the edge of the glass right there. Then round that corner off down over here, because this corner's rounded. I want to get a little bit of a blade and get it down in there. That way I got a perfect edge. What I'm doing is I'm riding that knife blade right on the edge of that piece. That's how you can cut it. I've been cutting a long time, so I can cut pretty much straight with a free hand, but like, if you're learning how to tint, you should probably use a straight edge, because I know how far to go over. I use my fingernail to kind of hold myself steady right there as I turn the corner. I'm using my fingernail as a guide. There's a pro tip right there. All right, so now he's already cleaned these windows once or twice to get all the glue off, so they're pretty much good. So I'm just gonna squeegee them. AJ, what's up with this window? Is the battery dead? Well, what about going up? I think the power's off now because it's not even. Try the front door. Okay. Well, we'll have to. Huh? Well, we'll have to wait on that one. In the meantime, we'll cut out the front one, I guess. Lee man, what you doing? I could use a tint pickup whenever you get a second. It's like a friggin', look like a hurricane of tint went everywhere over here. See how much this window moves right here? Look at my other marker line. It was right there. So this window jumps a lot, knowing that from already doing the other front one. Watch that mirror. So that moved a little bit because this mirror was in my way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reverse cut this one. Going back this way. Once it slips out, you gotta reverse cut. So reverse cut is, I'm gonna start here. Ooh, that window moved a little bit. So I can go back this way and then it won't hit that little sliver. You can see that little sliver I was still able to take off right there. So you can see how far that window moves, that we got to get it down in there. So I'm going to use this knife to really trim that top. Taper that into the bottom. So I kind of work right here and just taper it right into that side. So I want to get that thing nice and wet so I can slide that thing in there, because this is kind of tricky to slide it in. So the sweeps on these actually popped right out. I'll show you a video at the end how we put them back together. But so really, I want to make sure I get this front first. So I'm keeping my elbow up so it doesn't touch that back on a click in my glasses. It's going to touch here because it's higher. So I really need to get that down in, get that back in here so I don't pinch that corner right there. I really need to get this in here, and then I gotta slide that in there now. Now I'm going to have to make a finger in this to keep this edge flat from touching. So it's flat and I can slide that in there. All right, see how much that's off right there? Once I drop down that window, that'll straighten that out. But that's how far that window moves. Now I'm heating up that edge. Heating this up to get this tint to tack. The heat's gonna get that glue to activate. When you hand cut it, you can get your gap really tight if you're good at cutting. See 2 little specks right there I can heat out. This Johnson film is really forgiving. Now that heat, I'm gonna activate that glue at the top. All right, this is where I get this tri-edge plus right down in here on this side. I like this because it has that squeegee that doesn't really scratch. Now push on the glass because it's a little bigger so I can get in there. If you needed a tool, then you could have this Platinum Easy Reach. This is a little thinner. It goes back in there easier, but you have to sand this all the time because this scratches. All right, so I'm gonna take my window up. Again, I could use this because it goes in there a lot easier. But I like this, I don't have to worry about it scratching. Let's say I push on the glass a little bit so I can get it down in there because it is tighter. I'm just gonna squeegee all the water out the bottom. And that's it. But it looks like we got some contamination on the side, on this whole side down in there. So something happened there on the install and that pulled back. Looks like that cut could be a little long. Now I can fix that with a little bit of tape, but on this one, I can get this out. Huh? You can grab the tape? Yeah, go ahead. Big tape? Yeah, the green tape. So I can get all this stuff out of here with that green tape. It's a little trick here if you get a little bit of dirt in the corner. So if you get a little bit of dirt in the corner, this green tape can get it all out right here once you get it wet. And you just rub this green tape on the side really good. And then you gotta hose it out of there. Alright, so then I gotta have to heat up that edge so I don't pinch that edge right there. Now we're gonna have to slide that back down in there. We got all that dirt out of there, but we do have a couple crinkle marks that we'll have to heat out. But that thing had a whole patch of dirt right there and got all of it out. So another pro tip included right there. I mean, that saves you so much money and time and tint. We really want to activate that glue right there since I pulled that film so it doesn't crinkle back in the side where that side folded up. We want to lay that extra flat. So that's whereas we pulled it back. Now I'm going to use this harder of a tool to get that down in there. So I don't really want to use this one this time. I could, but I'd want to use the back edge of it and get back in there and really push that down. It was perfect. Almost gave up on that window. Let's see how it looks now with that gap in the front that I was worried about on the other side. So probably have to shade a little bit of the corner in here because I made it too far. So the other one, I can show you on this window over here, how it pulls back a little bit at the top. Is if you look at it like a perfect cut, and then right here it starts to come off the window right there. So I'd adjusted on that one to make that one a little bit longer, and then now I'm gonna have to hand cut this one. So what I'm gonna do now is get my knife and then I angle it perfectly. I can get around that corner. Now to get in there more, to get all that and make sure it doesn't peel in there, probably gonna need to get a file in there. I don't really like the looks of this, so we're gonna redo that one. We're gonna redo this whole window so we can get it better in that top corner. I'm gonna use this as a comparison piece. I'm gonna recut that whole piece, but then I'm gonna use this as a comparison piece. Make sure we're good. This happens when you do these older vehicles like this. Sometimes it takes a couple times to do these windows because of how tricky they are. It's not good enough. So if I can teach you anything, just redo the windows until it's right. Last thing you want to do is just slap something in there. Like I know, like, hey, that can be better. So where I have to be careful here is where it wants to tilt back here. Watch this front. So I don't want the pinch right here in the front. But I definitely want this back in, unlike last time. So I'm gonna drop this window down further, fold this back a little bit so I can get this top in first. And now I don't have to worry about that bottom back like I did last time. I can push it in further, which is gonna give me more room right here. And there's a little tack. I want that smooth, so that'll slide back in there. If you get a little stick spot on the window, you can hit it and vibrate that water right there. That'll move that tint. All right, so now we want to move that down so we can see what that front edge looks like. Again, see that little vibration right there will move that. The edge is perfect. Good little perfect gap right there on the top. Boom. So that's a good pro tip for you. If it sticks on you, hit it, and what that does is that vibrates that film. It vibrates that water in the film. Guys, we're busy here all the time, even in January, so the phone's gonna ring. Listen to the sales process here. WindowEffects, this is Neil. How can we serve you?
Hi, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I was wondering if you were able to tell me how much you would charge to do a all-around of a 2016 Kia Sorento.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Let me get your information here in case I lose you or you need a free estimate, okay? What's your first name?
Bianca.
Okay. Have we done any work for you before, Bianca?
You did my car. It was like years back.
Okay, I thought yeah.
Doing it at home.
Yeah, I thought I recognized that name. There's not that a lot of Biancas out there with the last name. So yeah, so you want, it's a Kia Sorento. What year is it?
2016.
A 2016. Okay.
Yes.
So it's just a traditional SUV. So the price on that is gonna. Do you know what? Are you doing it for heat blockage? Or are you doing it for privacy, just to look better? Because I have 3 different lines of film to kind of help me get an idea.
Probably just to look better.
Okay, so if you're doing it for looks, the price on that is just going to be $359.
Okay.
All right. How soon were you looking to get it done?
I'm
Oh, okay, congratulations.
I didn't know you would be able to do it.
Okay, well, yeah, we can get you in. We're really busy. We're kind of booked up for the next week, but something like that wouldn't take more than an hour and a half. We'd probably squeeze it in if you were dropping it off. If you're waiting here, I'd have to get you on the schedule for like an official time.
Okay, that would be great. Can I actually call you? How's next week look for you?
We're really busy. How's it look for you?
I'm free whenever, honestly.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's up to you. You tell me what day you want to get it in, but you want to get it in sooner than later because when it gets warmer, the prices go up. So I'd like to get you in at least in January or February. So the sooner you book, the better it's going to be.
Okay, that'll work. If anything, I'll call you before the week's out, and I'll probably just I guess have you squeeze me in to see if you can.
Okay. Well, I'll put it in my phone to probably touch base with you Thursday or Friday this week, so I can see what my schedule looks like and see if what day we can squeeze you in next week.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Bye. Okay, so you can tell that she wasn't really ready to book right then and there, so I don't want to push her to a spot, but I will go into the system so you can kind of see how this works here at the shop. I bet you it's off the track in there. AJ, I think we're gonna be okay. No, you're good. We'll just do it the way it is. I never normally want to shoot it up, but this window not being able to go up is a problem. This window's broken here, so we're having to deal with that. If you've seen earlier on the video. All right, so we're gonna drop that front corner in here first. I'll keep this back elbow up. Drop that in. Now we're gonna push on the glass. We can slide that back in. That'll let us get that bottom in right there. And slide that forward. Let's slide it in further because there's a light gap in there. Again, if it's wanting to stick in these sides. We got tons of dirt in here in this vehicle, so something's going on down the bottom down there. Tons of dirt on both sides. This thing was really dirty down in there. I don't know if when the window moving down in there. This thing's just so dirty. So you gotta start asking yourself, like, when you make mistakes, like why is that happening? So you keep troubleshooting. So, because that install was good, especially down the bottoms. So it is troublesome how it moves this way. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm really gonna slide that in far on this side so I know this side is smooth, it's not touching anything. So that's perfectly flat. So for that to get dirt down in the bottom is concerning why that would happen. I waited to do those ones last. Those are gonna be a fucking nightmare. They're like camper shell windows. Just a tint strip. The windshield's easy. There's just two different pieces that are flat. That's the easiest part about this car. He just said he wanted a tint strip. Tint strip, I'm not a big fan of a tint strip, but that will look pretty cool on a Hummer. You want that little low tint strip looking thing. Sometimes when I do these vehicles, I wonder why I do these because they're super, super time consuming. But then I said, well, this would be a good video. 17 years, first time I ever had one of these. So can't pass that up, even though I knew it would be a pain in the ass. I knew it. And I haven't even done the hardest windows yet. I like to do those last, that way I have to do them. I don't even know how I'm gonna even attack this mentally. Windows are really tricky, but the back window seems like where we're gonna run into an issue is we need a factory edge right here, and we gotta get it behind this piece, and then we're gonna need a really good cut right there. Could file that. All right, the good thing is the only rubber's in the front. There's nothing down in here, so I can cut this a little bit bigger and hide it down in there and hide it back here in the top. So that's gonna be the good part about this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a liner on the inside of this window, maybe to cut this out. Or we can go line it up to the back edge and to the front. So let me try this first before we use this liner. I slid this a little bit forward to line it up with the edge of that front. So I know my window goes all the way to here. So I pulled this piece out because the inside track is gonna line up with the edge of that front piece, but my back's probably gonna be big, so I'm gonna have to shave that back off. It's gonna line up right on the edge of there. So just to make sure, I want a good straight edge on here. Even though I just cut it in the plotter straight, I wanna make sure I have a perfect straight edge on this front. And I'm gonna have to hand cut that on the inside. So now I'm gonna have to slide this glass. I'll slide that glass. And now I'm gonna have to cut this edge right here. So. Very time consuming little windows right here. We gotta get them super, super clean. This guy's making this into a show truck here. So I'm gonna relief cut this bottom right here. I can hear how raggedy that is in there. It's so bumpy. It's not gonna be a smooth cut because that glass is damaged. We're gonna go up in there a little bit on both sides. So what we're gonna do to hide this in there, I'm gonna leave this, we're not cutting this right here. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna end up shaving this window. So we're gonna go up above this by that little bit of a sliver so we can hide that up in the top. This is gonna be trial and error. This may take us a couple times to get this window. That's all gonna be shaved. And the hard part here is just really getting this thing super clean up in there. I can still see all the old glue. I mean, this makes it harder that there was tint on here before. So we're cleaning there really good. So we have to reverse roll that this way. Thorough cleaning. You can see how nasty that thing is. All right, this back window shouldn't be too hard. You can see the liner release right there. All right, the hard part is this thing being, I'm gonna drop that bottom in first probably. Reverse roll this a little bit further out. I'm gonna fold that top in right here. I really wanna fold that in and get that in there. So now I got my straight edge on the front right here. Boom, so that's straight. And now I'm able to cut this back right here. Now this is extra here, so I can fold this down in here. Like that. I told you I'm gonna have to cut this back part off, which we're gonna file that off. So, perfect cut on the side. So just shaving it with that thing. So this right here, I'll get right on that edge so it's not gonna peel. That's already really rough. So what I would have done different next time is realize when that moves, it's gonna try to lift the tint down there. I can hear the tint trying to lift. But I also don't want a light gap on that bottom. So if I lift that up, then that tint will stick down in there. So I got a bubble wanting to come up right there. So it could be rubbing right there, where it's hitting on the bottom because there's a seal down in there. So what I'm gonna do here, so there won't be a light gap either, and that way I don't have to worry about this peeling, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna angle this tool right down here and use it as a trim tool as if I was doing a house window. was all down in the bottom, a little long, but you can see it's now cut right on the edge of there. But now I don't have to worry about it popping up. So what we're doing here is we're going to use this piece as a trim piece now. So I'm going to make sure this one's right. That's my straight edge here. And that's my back. So we know from last time that it was a little bit too high in the back behind the gap. But we're going to cut this the same. And I know I'll have to clean in there really good. All right, we're going to use our factory edge right here on the back side of this thing. I'm going to switch over to glasses now. All right, so I got to open this up. What's up, dog? Yeah, you want to get that mug on video? I'm filming right now.
Don't put me on.
These just take forever to clean, man. I'm flushing that out, unlike the last one that I did. Okay. That should be about as far as we get right there. All right, so clean this thing really, really good. The last time we got a speck of dirt I had to get out the top with the tape, so I don't want to have to do that on this one. One thing I'm going to do different too is I'm going to make sure I get that more wet in the front so I can slide it in here better, which I could have put the back in and flipped it in, but we got to cut the back, so that ain't going to work. The further I go out, I was able to angle this and get that liner off there, because you know I really want to fold that top in, which would be helpful, and then I should be able to slide this in there, which is what I want. But if that's not flat, it's going to catch right there, so I want to make sure that's flat. So I can slide this piece in there. Good. Slide that piece in. Remember where I got in trouble last time. Remember, this window's gonna move, so that's my problem. So when I go to slide that window, this is gonna jiggle, and that's what's causing my dirt to come in there. Let's see, I can hear it wanting to lift or wiggle, so I gotta make sure when I pull this, I keep this straight. Dirt getting right there. This stuff can't tuck behind here, so I'm gonna a whole cluster of dirt right there now, pretty sure. So we're gonna have to take a little bit off of that. Don't need it all the way down in there. It's not too far up in there. And there's this section right here. I made this bigger because I gotta shave this again. And this bottom, I'm gonna take a sliver off this bottom. Should make the easier install. I'm gonna glue trick this window. That's gonna help me. Didn't think I needed to, but I'm going to. It's gonna cut down on my contamination. Hopefully that's not dirt on the back of that thing, which is causing problems. That is where my problem problems are arising. Could be that there's a bunch of dirt on the back of this piece. Maybe. That thing already reverse rolled on me. Hopefully that wasn't already fucked up. I don't think this, there's no way that piece is gonna be good, I don't think. All right, well, it looks clean. I don't know how much people want to watch me struggle on this stuff, Vance. Damn, this shit is hard as fuck. It looks like that's on the outside. That looks good to me. It's below that seal, which is good. So this one turns out good. It was that glue trick that really helped on it. You know what I mean? Let's see what she looks like. Hey, be thankful you guys are doing that shit over there. I'd like that window to be sitting up in there. I don't want there to be a light gap right there. Every time this window bounces, it's probably going down. I have to fucking redo this one too. God damn it. All right, that's gonna be a factory edge. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna use this as a factory edge on the inside of here. All right, and this one right here, we may be able to, it's gonna be a little bigger on the inside. Maybe hand cut this right on the bottom. So if I'm stabbing this down here and running my finger on it, I'm gonna make a perfect cut on that bottom. Give me some room on the top. That way I don't have to cut the bottom. And then I'm gonna marker this here. But then when I cut this, I'm gonna cut just outside of that top. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is just barely cut on the other side of this white part. Around these corners. What happened to my stole? Oh, he has to do that tint strip. All right, so what we're doing now is we have to scrub this out now with that toothbrush. Where's that toothbrush at? Oh, you gave it to him. You gave it to him. It's right here. So we're gonna get this toothbrush here and really scrub out this bottom. You can see how disgusting it is. Sometimes you can have my air tank. You can flush it out with the air. So that's gonna be so dirty if you don't use the glue. And as far as this goes, cleaning this back, I'm gonna run this thing down behind this back. That'll clean back in there really good. I'm gonna squeeze it out one more time. This way I glue down here on the bottom. I'll put it pretty heavy down that bottom corner. I don't have to reverse roll, but I'm gonna save this piece. Actually, that side probably won't be the same because none of these windows are the same, so trying to trace it out is just not gonna be helpful. I might have touched that, so I wanted to be careful when I set this top up in here and fold this a little bit so I can slide that back behind there. It looks like I just got a little bit to cut right there, but I might be able to tuck that in too. Hopefully this window will not be as hard as the other one, but I don't think that is gonna tuck. This is why that glue is good to hold this from, see that cut was perfect, so that way I didn't have really any trimming to do, but I couldn't really do that on that back window because of that stuff. Okay, it looks like I got a little bit of trimming to do right here in this bottom corner. So I'm gonna run this knife up. And cut that little piece right there. Then get this tool back in here. Squeegee that out. All right, let's check it out from the outside. All right, it's butter. Got a couple fingers right there, gotta push out and that's it. Whew, man. All right, friends, just got done doing the whole video. It was a timely process. Vance is he's gonna edit it to make it a little less time consuming so you don't have to watch the whole thing. It was probably about a 4-hour process because we had to redo a bunch of windows and make sure it's done right. The whole thing, when you take on a job like this, you got to give yourself a full day. Lucky I got a great team. They were in here tinting other vehicles while I was doing this, but it came out perfect. Great challenge. It's something I didn't want to turn away. I gave them a fair price because I wanted to make sure I do it. It's not every day you get an H1 Hummer that comes in here with a full removal and a retint, but we did 5% ceramic tint the whole way around from Johnson window films, some cuss words and throwing a water bottle and kicking shit, but it came out perfect and the customer's gonna be happy. That's what matters. So it came in with legal tint on it and it looks way fucking better. So subscribe to the channel. Like I said, it took us 4 hours to do this, editing the video so we can make content for you guys to help you out so you see cool stuff. Thanks.